Welcome to the North American League. For those of you that don't know or just hearing about the news, unfortunately last Monday, October 11th, 2021, Michael "Kickstar" Stockley passed away in a fatal car accident. He was the only person involved, and it was a complete accident. Losing him has been unimaginably tough for everyone who held him dear. Not only has his impact been felt by his family, his friends, and the Rainbow Six community, but throughout all of esports. We lost a legend, an icon, but most importantly, we all lost our friend. To us, he wasn't just a colleague, but Michael was family. We like to offer you a bit of history that KiX would hate and tell us to get on with it already. He started his casting career after Pro League Season 2, regarded as one of the best players in North America. He saw an opportunity to step in front of the camera and help grow a scene that he loved so much. We were fortunate enough to hear and grow with Kickstar's commentary for over 5 long years. He provided some of the most memorable moments in Rainbow Six Siege and a parent KiX Tarot that will never be replaced. He was a pillar of the community, and he will greatly be missed. Many of you are grieving alongside us, and we can only offer our thoughts and memories to celebrate the special person that KiX was. We've put together a video in his memory. Let's take a look.
Hello and welcome to Playday number 2 of the North American Pro League. My name is Kickstar and I am joined by a new addition to our roster in Terrobang. How is it going in Terrobang? How are you feeling about your first day of Pro League casting?
I'll be honest and just say get out of the way. It is a little nerve-wracking, but I am extremely humbled and very appreciative to be given this opportunity. You know, when you start casting, one of the things everybody wants to aspire to at some point is to get to this level, and it's amazing to be able to do so.
Welcome everybody. Welcome back, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. All right, everybody.
Welcome back, everybody.
Ding, and I'm with KiX and in Tarot.
This is Kickstar.
KiX, how are you doing as I digress?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our third play day of this stage of this season. I'm in Tarot, and I'm joined by Kickstar award-winning caster.
Yes, hello.
Kickstar.
It's good to be here. It's good to be here with you,
Don't roll
Parker.
your eyes. I can see you,
You have
young
to
man.
bring it up every
I can
time.
see you. All right.
Like, I'm never gonna get away from it. We gotta get
Never.
you an award, and then I can make fun of you relentlessly for it.
You can't unwin the award.
I suppose I can't. No, that doesn't work like that. The plant going down. Bio has to cover. And he's gonna do a great job of it, but no! Jarvis drops from CEO! Bio still has time to win the fights, but why are you sprinting, Bio? He cannot vault this, so he'll prep it, but that'll give away his rotation and his intentions. It doesn't seem that 9XT has noticed this, though. It doesn't seem like there's a camera, and there's a nice kill for Hot and Cold. He only needs 2 more, and they're both still very low. He can deny the plant with the evil eye and just keep himself alive. 19 bullets, so he's got to be careful with that ammunition counter, and here's the denial! Will he land the shot? Wow. Wow.
Behind.
Okay, get that.
Oh. Hello.
Hey, it's ours now.
Michael, I undid my top button, by the way. Do you want to loosen up a little bit?
Yeah, it's a little strangled, to be honest. Thank you.
Just take it off.
Trying, but it's really tight.
No, the whole thing.
No, not gonna do that.
Okay. My name's Intero. I'm joined by Kickstar. As always, we're actually fast approaching 4 years together, Michael. It's you haven't even proposed yet. Unbelievable.
I know,
But
I am just an absolute sloth. I went to Vancouver, but I was like 5.
So that was like 2 years ago.
This is what I live with.
This is what we live with.
Fair enough.
Well, we have a break ready, so we're going to throw to a break now while we try to sort all this out. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Sit tight.
Bye. Wag is going to miss it. Narrow shot on a Nest, but Nest won't miss his. And on full HP, he's going to have full control of Projector. And because of that, able to take down Julio. Psycho whips out the SMG pistol, but the nade from Sexy will shut him down. Kamikaze, the last defender, but he can't make it happen. What a round from Nesk, and what a round from Liquid to take it.
Michael, when is your rap album dropping?
that. Michael, what an incredible game we just witnessed.
Yeah, it was fantastic. A wonderful game.
I mean, we've been saving so much strats, and we've been kind of taking a vacation. I went to Hawaii for 3 weeks, and I actually played from there. No, we've just played bad. We had a bad performance for a while.
Well, so he planted the diffuser, and then he went like prone.
No, I saw him deploy after he.
Don't make that signal with your hand. Don't.
I saw him deploy.
Don't do that gesture ever again.
He did the shield thing. Stop. Why? What is wrong with your brain? What he did.
What's wrong with my brain? You know what they're going to be saying about that.
Forcing Mint into an ace situation. He's gonna get the 4K. He has the mirror window and the flash, and he gets it. The ace from Mint and the round all on blitz. He doesn't even know where Bolo is. That was crazy. What's your opinion on Bolo? Yo, Bolo. That guy. I hate Bolo. Rah! One bullet. One bullet!
Let's fucking go!
15 seconds left.
On the bomb. You see him?
Seconds remaining.
What?
Has been eliminated.
Oxygen right here. Casters, take it away.
Oh, it's a new one. We don't even get a proper introduction. We're just casters. Michael, that's it. We're not Intero, we're not KiX, we're just casters. Well, thank you, Desk. I appreciate it. Shame you don't have any names.
So, Parker and Michael, take it away.
Oh, thank you very much. We have names this time, Michael. We have names. We're not just, we are not just nameless casters. I am Parker. You are Michael. Yep. So it's, I mean, it's a good thing. Veli remembered us.
It's nice to have a name again, Parker. I feel rejuvenated.
Right now, Team 1 finds themselves a single map away from being Mexico Major champions. Technically, back-to-back championships are available for Team Empire because we haven't had another international major since Empire prevailed in Raleigh. Crazy to think about that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a really long time, Parker. We've been lacking so many lands. And here we are with the land. It's been fantastic.
But
Cafe Balcony?
Jump out.
Push dead.
He's in break.
bomb down.
Diffuser down outside. Nice kick.
4 remaining.
Close up next.
Nice kick. Nice one.
Good shit.
I'm relatively new to the scene. I thought you were the most gorgeous woman when I saw the hair. I didn't really see you. I was vibing pretty hard, and then someone's like, "That's KiX," and I was like, "Yeah, she has luscious long hair like me." And he goes, "That is a man," and I went, "I gotta confront my demons right now, and I'll be back."
When you're a kid, you have a lot of dreams and realities here in the background. And then as you grow up, the dreams start to recede and reality starts to come to the forefront. You embrace reality and dreams go away and sit in the corner. I never really grew up, so all my dreams stayed up here, my reality sat in the background, and I embraced dreams entirely. Like, I was always that person who was like, I'm just gonna play video games all day. That's what I wanna do.
People in general are awesome. You know, like, there's always this association with your average person where you're like, oh, they're out to get you. The truth is, I don't think so. I think most people just are trying to have a good time, trying to live a good life, and trying to enjoy themselves. And I sincerely hope, from the bottom of my heart, that you, on this fine, wonderful, whatever day today is, I have no idea, are having a good time. And I hope that everything works out for you, and I hope that you're happy.
Thank you for watching, everybody. So, thank you for making it fun. And yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
What a beautiful video, and I'm going to give a big shout out to the production staff over at Face It for rehashing all of the memories that we have of Kickstarter, whether it's from commentary, streaming, or even playing. But I'd like to welcome you all to the analyst desk, and as usual, I'm your host Veli, and along with me, we have a new face. We have my man Imzo. Good to see you again. We have Jesse, and also my boy Caliber Jacob. And first things first, Imzo. A lot of people that are newer to Rainbow Six Siege, they might not know you, but for the OGs and for the veterans out there, you've been in this scene for a very long time.
Right, yeah. So for those of you who are maybe a little bit newer, I started back in year 1, season 2, just within a few weeks of KiX, I think pretty much, and had casted up till the SI before the last one. And it's crazy because, you know, I was brand new to the scene. I jumped in, you know, they were really looking for people. We just got shot out to Poland, like we were shot out of a cannon pretty much. And KiX was in the same boat, you know. Pinky was just like, hey, you want to come cast? He was a pro at the time, and I'd followed him, and Pinky had followed him, and his response was just, sure. And just like that, just does it, right? So, you know, he just comes flying out to Poland as well, and we're all just in this boat together of just like, it's new, we don't know what to do, we don't know what to expect. And the first thing I just get a text from him, just like, dude, I don't have any food. Like, we're just all in apartments out there. He's just like, I don't have any food. It's like, you know what, dude? Let's just go shopping. Like, so we took him to the Tesco over there, and we just went shopping and got to know each other, and just helped to pick out food. We had to translate everything from Polish with our phones because it's all none of it's in English, right? So we're all just in that together, and I think it was great because we both got to experience that newness of the game, the scene coming out there. I mean, yeah, he'd had done a little bit of travel as a pro player to go out to some of the lands and stuff like that, and we'd met a little bit there. But it was really cool to make that transition together and to cast together for like 4.5 years straight.
Yes, now for all of the people on the desk, we're not the only ones that will be here. I'll also like to introduce my boys, Blue and Stokes.
How's it going, Veli? It's good to see you here once again. We'll be jumping on the camera here in just a second, but it's a pleasure to be here in the same studio as you guys, live for the first time in a very long time. We really appreciate that, and we're really looking forward to this show.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be very candid with you guys at home. We all know how hard today is. It's not going to be a fun one, folks. You know, it's definitely not. It's definitely going to be a pretty emotional day, but we are going to get through it. And all of us here have some very, very fond memories of Michael. So we'll be talking about it throughout the day, and we're also going to have some games going on as well. So yeah, that's about it.
Well, bouncing off of that note as well, we wanted to say some things in remembrance of Michael. I really wanted to talk as well just about how helpful of a soul he truly was at the end of it all. I mean, when I first came into the scene, for those who don't know, the first event I worked, and this was truly the very first Siege cast I ever did, was at DreamHack Winter 2018, if I'm remembering correctly. And he was the first person that I had the honor of casting with. I had come in, most of the prep had been done pretty much on my own. I had some assistance from Ranger in learning the terminology, the vernacular, but I came in fresh, and I was incredibly nervous about how I was doing, especially casting with someone like Kickstar, who had such a well-renowned reputation inside of the community. And we finished that commentary, went right over to our green room, and first thing he said to me was, "You're really good, but you can improve some things." And he immediately went into in-depth detail about what those things were. He immediately started jumping in to help me out to improve my casting, even though this had no effect on him whatsoever. This was purely just to help me, and he did it out of the kindness of his heart, and that was one of many, many times he did things like that, and it's going to be hard to replace that, man. I'm going to miss him.
You know, the thing about Michael Stockley is that everybody at home knows how much of an influence Kickstar had over this game. I don't have to tell you a single damn thing about that, and I know that. So I want to tell you guys about Michael Stockley, the friend. That's what I want to tell you about. Michael Stockley is someone that you wish that you could have in your corner. He's somebody that cares about people, and he genuinely does. Any solution, anything that you could possibly come up with to help you inside of your situation, he was that man, and he was the first one in your corner to be like, hey, do you need some help? I'll be really honest with you guys, it's very, very difficult for me, especially for, this is where I got my start. I started my job in esports here in Rainbow Six Siege, and I was a fan of this game before I ever worked in it. all of our guys' favorite grand finals, SI 2018. I was telling everybody about this. I feel like I should tell you guys about this as well. I wasn't working in esports at the time. I was actually working in a grain facility for my dad in Texas, and I just gotten off of a 16-hour shift from work. And I got back to the hotel room that we were staying at, and the SI finals were on. And I remember sitting on my bathroom floor, and I watched every single moment of Bank on that, or rather Coastline, or I can't remember what it is right now. But, you know, I sat there on that floor, and I watched every single one of those maps with the shower running. I could not pull my eyes from that iPad. I literally watched every single one of them. And you fast forward 2 years, or not even that, and I meet Michael for the first time at SI 2019 at group stage, where I get to cast with this beautiful bastard right here for the very first time, and ladies and gentlemen, and devil's advocate, and all this crap. And the craziest thing about it is, no matter what I did there, Michael always told me that I did a good job. And I had never casted in front of that many people before, and he made me feel like I could do it. And that's the whole reason I'm here
for
today.
both of us, man.
It's really, really hard, man. You know, especially coming from a time where we just got back from Mexico, guys. The last time I saw him, he was off to see a woman that he loved so very dearly. And you know what? That's amazing. The thing about right now is that it's all about the happy thoughts, folks. Michael is somebody that influenced so many people around the world. He influenced me, he influenced John, he influenced you at home. And that's what matters. Don't think about all of the tragic things that happen, because, listen, Michael didn't live a great life. He lived the best life that he could have possibly have asked for. So don't be mad, don't be sad, be happy, please, because that's exactly what he would want out of you.
Thank you so much, Blue and Stokes, but also on the desk, Jesse.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you and Jake would definitely like to share a few words of your own.
Yeah, I remember when I first joined the NIL, you know, I was always looking up to KiX, because he was like, not only was he like the guy that knew all of his stuff, right? He was the most knowledgeable person in Rainbow Six broadcasting. He was always willing to give feedback, to like tell you what you did wrong, what you did right. And I would remember the first couple of Playdays, for the first probably 2 stages, I would prepare my notes ahead of time. And then I would come into the Playday, and I would wait till KiX got into the call. I would wait till KiX finished all his tests, and I'd be like, so, yeah, KiX, you know, what do you think of this thing that I prepared talking about? You know, and I would always have whatever I was willing to talk about. I would just bring up casually with KiX, just to, like, you know, get his opinion on it, make sure that, like, he kind of thought what my train of thought was, you know, sound, and make sure that, like, we were on the same page. And a couple times we weren't. A couple times he was like, no, actually, this is the case. And I had to, you know, quickly change my notes and all that. But you know, I was always running it by him and always trying to get his opinion on things. And even if I wasn't asking it directly, you know, he was always willing to talk to me about that type of stuff. And, you know, I think as I grew as an analyst, as I kept making out, you know, with more points and I got a little more confident, we would have debates on stuff. You know, we would talk about that type of stuff. We go back and forth on things. We were always in that TSM battle. I was like, I think TSM's looking really good. He's like, nah, TSM's overrated. You know, we got into those conversations. And, you know, it saddens me that we're not going to be able to have those anymore, but I'm happy I got the time to work with him when I did, and I'm happy we got to see him in Mexico, and I think that means a lot.
It's kind of difficult to put it into words, because I'm standing in the middle of a studio full of people that got to experience him in a country where he wasn't his happiest, in a place where he either felt like an outsider or didn't feel like it was possible to be as familiar as it was when he was at home. And there are a very select few people that get the chance to say that they broke bread with somebody in a completely different environment. But that's where you grow closer as, you know, as family, as brothers, whatever it might be. You know, 2 of you, you know, at this very desk did it right here. But it's weird because from my point of view, even though I didn't have as many experiences with him, the very few that I did by comparison are still incredibly memorable, to a point where it's impossible to forget the kind of impact that he had, whether it be on, my career in broadcasting or just in general. He was never the kind of person who, when you were done talking with you, like, left a bad aftertaste. There was always something else to look forward to, or it was him finding a way to uplift or give you positive encouragement. He was somebody who never had intentions to tear down, and that was something that was evident from the first conversation I ever had with the guy. 3 months into doing anything in an esports context, he invited me up to the casting nest back at SI 2020 when he didn't know who I was. Actually, I want to say in the middle of that grand final, he actually took a picture of me from where I was in front row of the stands and sent it to me going, "Is that you?" And I'm like, there's no way you're doing this in the middle of a grand final, Michael. What is wrong with you? But he invites me up, and the conversation that we had after that grand final was done, and we're looking at this confetti-strewn floor with right after SSG had won, and he's offering encouragement or advice about getting into the industry, or as I explain, my want to get into commentary. He's somebody who's almost like a rock, or just providing a basis from which you can work from, and that was the person that he was for me. And then jumping back into broadcast, kind of like in your situation, Jesse, it was that situation over and over and over again, and it was just these little moments of whether it be casual conversation or something about esports in some way. He was always that true friend when you didn't expect him to be, and he gave everybody the time of day, including somebody who's not been here for the same 4 years that some people have. Like, it's insane. So every time I think about Michael Stockley, I can only think of the good memories. I can't fathom a single bad thing to say about the guy, and I think that's just a true testament to the kind of person he really was.
You're right. Knowing KiX, I mean, we all know him as, the greatest commentator in Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
But one thing about Michael that I will always just know off the top of my head is that whenever we had conversations, they were always honest. They were always honest. He always spoke to me about, he was happy to come home from Poland, and that, he was like, hey, Veli, he wanted to experience life. Let's go to the beach. I don't know why he wanted it, but he always wanted to just go grab macaroni and go to the beach and hang out with me. And we never got that chance. But the thing is, he wanted to experience life, and he was just becoming a man. He was growing up. He was young. He was 24 years old. And the one thing is, for someone that was so young, I mean, compared to me, Michael was a baby. he was a toddler, man. He was more man than anyone that I've ever known. Like, period. If I was half the man that he was at his age, I mean, I'd be a god. So when it comes to Kickstar, at the end of the day, we all remember somebody great. The guy was incredible. He was perfectionist. He was great at everything he did. But at the end of the day, he was humble about it, and he loved everyone around him. He always lent out a helping hand. But the thing is, when it comes to the NAL, he wouldn't want us to sit here crying and being sad about it. And he wants us to go out and have fun. So at the end of the day, when to close out this stage as strong as possible, and KiX, he'd really want us to finish off the season strong. So at the end of the day, us commentators, the analysts, and even the players out there, we're going to go all out because this is for KiX, right, fellas?
Absolutely.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's about time to get Playday 8 started, and we can't wait. We'll see you on the other side.
What does it take to call next? Follow us for a deep dive into the Rainbow Six community, breaking down barriers, taking you behind the scenes, and showing what it means to level up.
If you want to get better, try reviewing your game footage. Insights.gg's game capture tool makes recording and reviewing fast and easy. With no lag, automatic recording, and instant highlights, it's never been easier to learn from your gameplay. Try it for free at insights.gg today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the NAL, and here on the analyst desk, my name is Veli. But before we get things started, in the meantime, I would love for you guys to tweet out your favorite moments, tributes, or clips that we can share at R6 Esports NA with the hashtag KiX, so we can bring together those memories to build something special with them. But to break things down and start Playday number 8, I'm glad to introduce my analyst, and it feels so good to finally see you guys in person. Jesse and Jacob. Jesse, how you feeling, man?
You know, mixed emotions, right, Veli? I mean, obviously the circumstances around it aren't amazing, but I am happy to be here in the studio with you, with Jacob, finally having the desk together. We've been building to this for a long time, and it feels great to finally be here.
Yes, Jacob, I don't gotta look at a camera anymore to see you.
I know.
It feels good.
Finally, it happened after so long. And, you know, Jesse and I, we had that Mexico moment, but now finally we get to get the whole family together for one big extravagant thing for this week. No, it finally feels really good. And I don't have to look at the camera anymore. You're right. Instead, just have it go right over.
There we go.
Just drift to my right a little bit, yeah.
It feels good. But let's talk about the schedule, because we actually have some bangers for matches today. And starting things off is going to be a good one. And Jesse, Spacestation Gaming versus Beast Coast is what we're going to kick things off with. But when it comes to these other matches, which one do you like?
Listen, I think that match 3, Mirage versus SQ, is really going to be one that I think could upset some fans. SQ obviously have had their struggles in the past. In Mirage, I think they're on the upswing. I think this is one where, you know.
This man over here looking at Mirage to upset the Sonics, that ain't about to happen.
I'm just saying it's possible.
No. What we're looking at is a match number 4. We got a whole slew of games going on today that I think have a pretty expected result on paper, but then you get the OXG and Dark Zero at the very end of Playday number 8, and that's the one that's a little bit more unexpected.
Because there's so many implications coming off of that, right? You know what, Jacob? Let's take a look at the standings now. Dark Zero are a team that has 3 games left in a span of 2 play days, and why is that?
So far, they've only been able to capitalize on 2 of those games, but they have 3 because of an unfortunate situation at the back end of the Mexico Major, which meant that they had to push one of their games all the way until the end of the stage. So they have 1 game today, 2 games tomorrow. That is a triple header over the span of 2 days that Dark Zero have to run through, the gauntlet, if you will, to see if they can crack from 5th place up into the top 4 to qualify for the Sweden Major. But they got a pretty tough hill to climb. Not only is SSG locked in for that major already, but OXG and Sonics are looking to claim their spots, and then TSM FTX right above them with 4 points is looking to lock that in over the next couple of days as well.
Now, Jesse, we've been talking about the bottom 4 for some time now, and we're taking a look at teams like XSET, who found their way back at the bottom again. We're hoping for a little upset so they can work their way right back on up, right?
I mean, just look at those scorelines, Valley. We still have so much potential for upset. 5 points and then 6, 6, 6, and 6. The race to the bottom is so tense right now. And you've got to keep in mind, this is stage 3. If you finish in that 9th place spot, you're going to relegation. You got to play against a top Challenger League team, which is still being decided. But you know, whoever ends up on top there, they're going to come out with a lot of fire. They want to be in the league next year. And although XSET currently sits at the bottom, they just need 1 point to get into that tie and throw everything off balance.
Now, the one thing that will throw things off balance could come up with an XSET from this upcoming match that we have now. Beast Coast, the 6th seed, sitting at 6 points, will be facing off against Space Station Gaming. And fellas, we're gonna get into the map ban phases soon, but Jacob, if you're on Beast Coast side, right?
Yeah.
You're going against the Titans, Space Station Gaming, looking like the best team in North America right now.
Of course.
What map would you want to take them to?
That's the problem, because SSG have such a diverse map pool at this point that trying to pick one out for Beast Coast's sake is kind of difficult. Sometimes the Chalet, honestly, it might be the one map in the back of my head that makes the most sense, but it also is a map that SSG have looked at before and said, yeah, we like the success on this map. We have a good record on it so far, so it's a little hard to determine right now.
Jacob, I don't know if you're reading my mind or if you're reading my notes, but I also picked
I did not look at the
Chalet.
screen.
I know, I don't think you did, but I also picked Chalet is the map I thought we might be headed to. We'll find out, of course, as we get into this map ban phase, but you're absolutely right. There's not a lot of bad maps for SSG. There's a couple I don't want to see him go to. I don't want to see him go to Coast. I don't want to see him go to Villa. But basically, this is kind of their playground. They can have a lot of control over where this map ends up going.
Now, this is going to be a very important matchup, not because of the standings, but you also say that Beast Coast has one of the more important storylines in this whole thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think that Beast Coast are a team that obviously they're fighting to not be last right now. That is an important storyline. They do have pretty decent tiebreakers. So in that tiebreak, I believe they were at the very top or close under Dark Zero. So they're unlikely in that tiebreak situation. But if more teams get points, that's a problem. Also, if they get 0 points from this matchup, they are mathematically eliminated from the major, which we shouldn't write them off of. Obviously, they're 4 points behind TSM, but that's a comeback they could overcome, theoretically.
We're not looking for Beast Coast to make a major. If anything, steady improvement over time is what we've been looking at for this team for the entirety of this year. So whatever they can do in this game, if they can beat SSG, that's fantastic, but that does put them back in the running for major qualification right alongside somebody like a Dark Zero. Problem is, though, remember, DZ have 3 games to play. Beast Coast only have 2, so the amount of points you can get is still very limited right now.
Jacob, now we talk a lot about Beast Coast just now, but when it comes to Space Station Gaming, I mean, let's lay it out to the newer viewers out there, right? You know, this team, they look good. They went through some struggles when they came to stage 2.
Yeah.
But then they picked up hot and cold, and things just got a lot better from there. And Space Station Gaming, they're just looking unbeatable right now.
Space Station are right now in one of the best forms they've ever been, and arguably can still be probably the best SSG team that's ever existed. I will stand by that statement, but it's going to come down to how they do it in international competition. And right now, the issue that they face is how that's going to stack up against teams in the North American League. When they brought Skies in for this stage, everything looks like it's running like a well-oiled machine, but you need to get through these last couple of games just to prove, because you've had a bit of a long break. Now, once you get back into majors, just make sure that you finish out this stage strong. Don't let one map slip through your fingers off of something reckless. Don't give anyone that you meet in Sweden a reason to think that you have a weakness. So just blast through these last couple of games and show the world what you're really made of.
Yeah. I really think that, like, for SSG, they are at the top. They're the only team qualified right now.
Yep.
So that might give a little bit of an edge to Beast Coast, because what do SSG have to play for? I mean, seeding's important. Seeding is important for the major. You want to be going against some of those lower seeds from the other regions. But at the same time, SSG aren't going to break out the scrapbook here. They're probably not going to go to a really risky map. They haven't played very much. So Beast Coast probably will have at least an information advantage, right? Because they should know that SSG are going to run similar strats that they've run so far at the stage. Not going to try anything new. So that's something for Beast Coast to try to build off of, even if they're coming to this game as massive underdogs.
Now we actually have the maps up right now, and Jesse, you already know the deal. This is your domain. Can you run through the breakdown for us?
Yeah, so again, I don't want to see Coastline for SSG, and I don't want to see Villa. I expect those to be the 2 bans that they go with. Coastline is the first one. But again, that 3rd ban from SSG will really be the dictator for my mind. Beast Coast don't have any idea what that is. In my opinion, there's no obvious 3rd ban. It's going to be Chalet for the 2nd one. So there goes the map that both Jacob and I thought we might end up on. Bit of a shocker there, because SSG have been quite strong. But again, there's a lot of maps that they could go to. I anticipate that we will see them banning Villa. I would be very surprised if we don't. We'll get the map in, though. And yeah, okay, good. It got me scared a little bit there, because if they'd pull that out in this game against Beast Coast, that would raise some questions. But we're left with Kafe and Bank. Bank was a really rocky one for Beast Coast when they played it for the first time against TSM. They got a single round, but Kafe is SSG's best map. So this is really tough. They're going to go for Kafe instead. As I mentioned, SSG's best map. They dropped just 1 round in Stage 2 versus Mirage and XSET. Then they beat both Furia and Na'Vi in groups. They did lose it to Empire 7-4, but it's Team Empire. That's still a really strong record.
The problem that we're looking at, though, is this is a map that Beast Coast have already won on in this stage. They beat XSET on it back at the very beginning of this stage, which is just to say that if they're going to be comfortable on any map, might as well go to one that you've already won on. But the problem is for Beast Coast, they just haven't won on that many maps since they've been in the NAL for this stage. So any comfortability that you can find is a good thing. Space Station, though, have been incredibly dominant on this map up till this point. So unless Mark the Shark on coaching duties has got some crazy strats cooked up for this game, I kind of already know where my mind's swinging on this thing.
Yeah, and I mean, Kafe is one that they've been trying a little bit more. So Beast Coast, yeah, maybe this is a tough opponent, but I'm confident in them that they can show some good stuff.
Speaking about confidence, Jesse, so far this stage, you've been the most confident when it came to predictions, okay? Because Jacob has been spanking us, and now you are spanking
need to remind him that he has a lead on us,
right now.
This isn't necessary.
Look how excited he looks right now. So, Jesse, we're going to kick things off with you. When it comes to predictions, I want to put you in the hot seat. Are you running with the boys of Beast Coast or Space Station Gaming?
I mean, Valley, I'd love to hype up Beast Coast here, but it's SSG. They've looked so strong all stage long, and I do think Beast Coast are getting better, but, like, it's SSG at this point. I've got to go with the Space Boys. Jacob, what about you?
No, it's the same idea. When you have that much momentum going into Sweden, as SSG do at the minute, and also remember, the amount of games they've lost over the past, like, 2 stages has been 2 games. That's it. These guys do not lose, especially up against competition like Beast Coast. If they're still figuring some things out, but SSG look like they're running at 110 miles an hour after only having 1 player come right back in for this stage, I have 0 issues picking SSG in this game.
I love it, and I love the energy in person as well. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to rock with Space Station Gaming on my side as well. I like Beast Coast. They're not bad, but I don't think that they're right there yet. But Space Station Gaming, they're entering a level to where they really have to prove things to themselves, and not just to us, because you guys were there in Mexico. Space Station Gaming, they didn't have the performance that we wanted in NA, and our region, we got clapped, rightfully so, right? Shout out to Brazil. But I think that this team, they now have a chip on their shoulder. And Jacob, when it comes to going to Sweden to prove that NA is on top, baby, do you feel like Spacestation Gaming are there now with this new roster?
I did say that this is probably one of the best forums we've seen out of Spacestation, and that's because Skies came in and didn't look like he had any ring rust that he had to shake off. That man already had everything locked in, dialed in to 10, and it's not a case where he had like a really big like growing process to understand how SSG works. He's friends with these guys. He understands how this entire system works, and it was just a matter of giving him a break and then going right back into a system like SSG that is that structured. Lycan does a really good job of preparing his guys for success, and remember back when Space Station at the very beginning of this year was struggling because they didn't have a permanent fifth? Now every single player they bring in continues to amplify what SSG was doing, and they're back in form again that looks like SI 2020, but just a whole other gear right now.
Yeah, well, it looks like SI 2020. It also looks just like last stage. If you'll remember, what happened in stage 2? SSG brought in a new player. They won game 1, they lost game 2, and then they won every other game in the stage.
Yep.
What's happened to the stage? They brought in a new player, they won game 1, they lost game 2, and they've won all the games so far, right? There's a couple more games they gotta play, but this looks like the exact same script. I don't know if the writers just copy-pasted, got lazy, but I mean,
I'll double check with the writing team real quick.
Thank you.
We'll get into it. Matter of fact, the players are actually ready right now. So, fellas, it's about time to kick things off for Playday number 8, the first matchup of the day, Space Station Gaming versus Beast Coast. So, Stokes and Blue, take it away.
Thank you very much, Veli, and it's a pleasure to be here live in person to close out the season. Stokes is with me here, of course, and we're getting ready to jump into the very first match of the day, as we'll be seeing Space Station Gaming, already qualified and secured for the upcoming major, of course, go up against Beast Coast, who is fighting to keep their middle-of-the-pack position alive and maybe, just maybe, try to see if they can sneak into the top 4, however unlikely that may be at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup, especially with how SSG has played throughout the stage thus far. I think all of us have been pretty pleasantly surprised, especially for me. You know, Sky's coming off of the bench and not playing for some time. He actually has the highest survival rating out of any player currently inside of the NAL. If you didn't know, 47%, which is absolutely absurd to think about, especially for the role that he plays for SSG. So staying alive, always keeping those opportunities open to get open those walls or just keep himself in the game. So, I mean, SSG has just looked so dynamic this stage, where as for Beast Coast, I don't exactly feel the same. For Beast Coast, they're more of a scrappy squad, John. Not even a player with a rating above a 1.0, but yet they've been able to find these wins and also find these electric moments which have really gotten the team, or not the team rather, but really the community behind them.
Some big issues that we do see for this team, however, has to be the inconsistency among the individuals. You were talking about the individual stats there a moment ago, but even away from that, we saw some problems for Beast Coast on this map, specifically the last time they played it, which was against Astralis a couple of weeks ago at the beginning of this month, where specifically on the attacks, this team was really struggling to get anything going inside of, you know, when we boiled down to those final few seconds late round scenarios, Beast Coast were oftentimes didn't have the player count or didn't have anywhere near the map control or utility clear to attack the site, meaning that unfortunately that match went fairly one-sidedly in the favor of Astralis at 7-3, if I remember the scoreline correctly. So they're going to have to try and improve that in a big way now, coming into today playing SSG, as the analyst was talking about, on their very best map right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be a pretty tall task, but I honestly think that they're up for it. You know, Beast Coast coming into this, they obviously know what SSG are looking to do here on Kafe, and they can also learn from a couple of the mistakes that they made the last time around. Whenever we get to Kafe, we always talk about how this map is really utility-based. You have to be on top of your utility game, because if anybody dies early, you're more than likely not going to be able to accomplish the jobs necessary to abuse the map that you want to, especially on that offensive side. So we'll have to see. I'm excited, especially inside of these last 2 days, to see what Beast Coast have to offer at the very end of the year.
Yeah, not only, of course, is this going to be the closing action just for the NAL, this is all the leagues starting to come to a close now. So a lot of players really trying to show their stuff for the end of the year, as I'm sure.
Gotta make those salaries, man. You gotta pay the bills, John. Gotta pay.
As we start to get past SI early next year as well, you know, there's going to be probably a lot of roster switches. So.
Dude, I mean, it's crazy. You know, those salaries. We pulled Emzo out of retirement. Canadian came out of retirement a little bit ago.
Talking about it on Twitter now.
Hey, Pengu, hit me up, man. You know, we can like run the group stage together. We'll lose because I suck, but I mean, like, we can at least make like some change. It would help me out as well. I got to pay for the STI somehow. So, but either way, folks, we are right around the corner from getting into Kafe here between SSG and Beast Coast. We've been talking about this back and forth. Obviously, everybody at home is going to be favoring Space Station as well, especially with how ludicrous they've been this season, especially with hot and cold, but you have to wait no longer. Kafe starts now, folks.
And just in case anybody was curious, Emzo will be joining either Stokes or myself for games 2 and 3. So he'll be joining us here on the casting desk a little bit later on in the show to help us out here today with the commentary. As we get into it, though, it's time to talk about the bans between these two teams. SSG is going to be starting out on defense. They'll have the 2 outer bans, this initial one as well as the final one. Beast Coast on the orange side will be starting attack, meaning they get the 2 center bans.
It's, you know, I wish I could somehow translate this feeling at home for you guys. You have no idea how nice it is to be in a studio and commentate. It's a completely different vibe. You're not at home feeling like you're casting Challenger League. Sorry, my Challenger League commentators. But, you know, it's just a very, very different vibe. The energy is just so much better. But overall, guys, we are into Kafe now. Nomad and Thatcher are both going to be removed for the offense, so not limited inside of the hard breach department. Should make it fairly straightforward for Beast Coast, minus the Thatcher. Also, the mirror ban going to come through here for them. And I really like this one looking into it. Obviously, it's going to prevent a couple of those mirror windows being used, especially on that top floor, but we've seen them sparsely used downstairs as well.
Echo going to be the last one to be knocked out there, as we've seen quite a bit of Echo play, specifically inside of the kitchen, but in quite a few other departments also. So knocking that out is going to remove that very useful utility from SSG to potentially keep that in their back pocket for a late round clutch, which, I'll be honest, fairly of common occurrence on Kafe. So going to be a pretty good ban in my opinion. As we get into the initial picks, though, shouldn't be too surprising to see a Lion come out here, seeing most notably as we have the Nomad ban. Lion is kind of the go-to backup in a lot of senses to fill that role. So Foza will be dropping into that no problem whatsoever.
Yeah, a big fan of this, especially for the way that they're going to be having to play into SSG's strategy here. You can already see that this is going to be a top floor defense, and they are just sending the kitchen sink at Beast Coast currently. We'll have Goyo, Castle, and Aruni all along for the ride, partnered with that Jaeger. The Mute's there just for that extra flavor, just nice some drones and a couple of walls if they can really get down to it. But this is mostly going to go down inside of Christmas. Now, the biggest thing here for Beast Coast is that they have a lot of different opportunities available to them because of the operator lineup that they have, folks, specifically Anthony on the Buck. This is something that you can use to abuse that vertical play, specifically over inside of Cocktail through reading. They'd want to get control of that and actually break up through that floor and make those positions difficult for the SSG members to play in that area. As for the rest of SSG, though, they're more than likely going to be set it up for that Christmas take like we were talking about before. This is mostly going to be centralized around that bathroom, as well as Cigar with all of these ADSs, laser gates, as well as castle barricades.
Hole on the floor there inside of Christmas is going to allow for SSG to extend a player downstairs into trains and more than likely play that angle for a possible Nitro Cell pick or something else earlier on in this round as Beast Coast will more than likely take initial control from the red hatch and then push towards that breach in the floor if they follow usual trends. That's not to say that's going to happen, though. We'll take a look and see what exactly Beast Coast will give us in a moment, but it does look like things are going pretty much according to plan so far here off of the first 20 seconds.
Well, whoever is quarterbacking that Nitro Cell play, I hope they look better than the Detroit Lions, because they're not looking too hot right now. But either way, for SSG, they're not going to be too dedicated overall to the downstairs area just yet. They will have a singular player playing around white stairs, but they'll also have this very forward mute, and that's going to be Skies here, playing inside of Cigar, and we all know how damning that M590 could be if you approach him incorrectly, so more than likely be able to sit on this for quite some time, just wasting Beast Coast's time overall.
Yeah, doing a pretty good job of that so far. Relative inaction between both of our teams outside of the first minute here in the round, and we'll see the opening action start to build up here as Anthony's going to be able to line one up just normally. Frag Grenade was trying to be primed against the freezer hole, but is not going to work out here. Minimal damage done to the defenders, obviously minus the elimination of Fultz that happened off screen here with Anthony claiming that initial kill.
And of course, folks, everyone here inside of the NAL today will more than likely be running the Kickstarter charm. It is not a requirement, but we have seen already so many of these. So shout out to all the pro players also for, you know, today being very difficult, but still playing through this and making sure to keep the memory of KiX along with us. We're about halfway through this round now, folks. Not too much action has happened in between these two. Beast Coast still working on this mid floor. They're assuming SSG wants something to do with this, but as of right now, not too much has happened. Did end up clearing in through train. Now they've gotten control of reading, so it looks to be the cocktail attack like we were talking about before with that skeleton key, so Anthony should begin working on that momentarily, but the timer's going to continue to dwindle, and this is where things are going to get desperate here in a little while. SSG's been able to hold onto this for some time, and Bosco will be managing white as of right now. Hot and Cold's going to get lit up, but it's going to be Jay to actually strike first as he'll take down Rampy.
Taking him out leaves Bosco as one of the few players going down now, and actually Skies, after Sippin claims another kill. A solid start here so far for Beast Coast as they build up an excellent matrix to execute the members of SSG one by one. However, there is still one remaining, and that's going to be Skies. He starts to frag back a little bit here, a little more than a little bit here as he takes out Fozo on top of that one. Still 3 players to go, but important note right now, the case is down inside of Skies' line of vision, I do believe, over towards the library doorway. It's going to be picked up, though, and to correct myself, it actually was out of his vision as it's still sitting behind the door. However, regardless, the members of Beast Coast are still going to need to get that into the building and into a plant position at some point over the next 20 seconds. They've got the positional security to do so, and you can see that over here towards Cocktail, but they're being so careful of the aggression that is going to eventually come from Skies, and there it is. Alex shuts it down, and it's a surprise opening round going the way of Beast Coast.
Yeah, it was a beautiful setup there for SSG, but they just ended up losing the plot pretty quickly once Beast Coast started applying pressure. Just too much damage, not really an opportunity for SSG to try and battle back. It was really only Skies that got something on the board there, and he could only do that from new drop. So pretty rough round overall for SSG, but love the idea there from Beast Coast. Did not want to try and deal with that Christmas setup because that's the focal point of what SSG was going for. Completely avoid it, apply pressure to the back end, and, well, thrive. Beast Coast right now up 1-0.
So Beast Coast with a strong footing to start things off will force a site swap for SSG. They're not going to reattempt upstairs. Instead, they'll be heading down to the first floor, where we've actually been seeing teams start this map out more commonly as of late. You normally have that quick choice to go between the first and third floor. Looks like we are going to try to get a rehost going here as Beast Coast is having some issues with their drones, so stand by for a second, folks, and we'll make sure that that's confirmed, and indeed it shall be. So we'll head into game in just a second here and allow the players to quickly remake the lobby. But things starting out well for Beast Coast. That's the story to focus on right now as they take that initial attack on the third floor.
You know, I felt like today during these phases, since we do end up having a couple of technical pauses happen, I'll tell you guys some stories about Michael while we're doing this.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting thing happened. If you guys remember Milan, quite a while back when we went to Italy there, that's when I ended up casting with Flynn, I do believe. So we actually ended up going to Milan, and there's a beautiful church in Milan, if you guys don't know. It's got like 1,000 hand-carved statues on it. And we were out standing in front of that, and there's a couple of gentlemen walking around the front like parking lot area, and we're walking in as a collective group, and this guy approaches me, and I kind of see him out of the corner of my eye, and he's got like these little wristbands, and he starts putting the wristband on me, and I wasn't really paying attention. He starts tying it on me, and he starts talking to me. He's like, "How's your day going, man? How are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing really good. You know, Italy's beautiful, loving Milan right now." And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's great. And he ties it up, and he's like, "Okay, you got any money?" I was like, do you like cash? And he was like, yeah, cash. And I was like,
trick in the book.
Yeah, I was like, no, I don't have any cash. And of course, listen, man, I'm from Iowa. Do you think we have this happen to us? No, of course not. So I'm standing here trying to negotiate with this guy how to get out of faux jail for a second, right? And out of nowhere, this person with long hair walks up beside me, hands this guy $40, and is like, "Let's leave." And I turn right, and it's Michael. And Michael's like, "Hey, I just gave him $40. Let's go." And I was like, "Michael, you can't pay this guy $40 for a wristband. Like, it's literally just like made of like fibers. That's it. It's like less than $1." And he's like, "Dude, I don't care. Let's go get food." So Michael paid a guy $40 to get me out of this whole debacle. And then we went and had Caesar salad at this place, like right next to Gucci. So it was, just the things that Michael did for people out of complete random.
Yeah.
It's just what a beautiful soul, man.
It's not only that, just getting to kind of experience all the travel we did together and things like that as well was really something, and yeah, we're really gonna miss that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's looking like we've nearly got the game ready to re-roll here in just a second, folks. Apologize for the sidebar, but we're going to be jumping back in just a second as soon as these teams are ready and the admin has rehosted the lobby. For anyone that may just be joining us, Beast Coast is ahead at the moment 1-0 after taking that third floor site attack for themselves, and we're about to go up against their attempt to take the first floor. Here we go, folks. Back into the game. Time to see now if Beast Coast can keep this train going.
Also, if you're mad about the story, we've asked every single mod in Twitch chat to ban you if you complain. So don't complain. You're allowed to complain to yourself, but not to anybody else. That's how this works. So don't say a single damn thing. All love in chat. That's how it works, okay, guys? But we're going to be getting back into it now, though, as Beast Coast still up 1-0 over SSG. We only got to see the initial round, which was upstairs on the bar floor. And just as a reminder for some of you, if you guys were off getting your popcorn or whatever the heck you were doing, it was that top floor defense, and Beast Coast ended up going for a cocktail attack instead of going through Christmas, which SSG had been set up for. They're going to be switching things up, going away from that top floor, headed down towards kitchen, and they're also going to go through a couple of different operator change-ups as well.
to take a look at specifically what that is going to entail here. Lots of drone denial coming in as we get the double combo for that over on SSG between Mute as well as Mozzie. It should be noted, folks, that we are also playing on not the most recent patch that had the changes to Mozzie's gun as well as one other. We are on the one prior to that, so those changes are not going to be in play here today for our matches. As you guys might have a little bit of trouble noticing that at home if you're watching, since as far as I'm aware, it just mainly affects recoil patterns. It's looking like, unfortunately, we might have to rehost this again. Has not been confirmed just yet, but I will be awaiting confirmation there, and then we'll see. It looks like, yes, indeed. It will be confirmed, folks, so we're going to try that one more time, see if we can get things set up here, as Beast Coast still in charge, but unfortunately still unable to see their drones, apparently. So,
you know what the good news is?
What?
I got stories stacked for days. Let's go again. You want to talk about Tokyo?
Yeah, I missed that event.
Okay,
so go ahead. I unfortunately don't have anything for that one.
So first things first, I actually bruised the bone in my foot walking so much the first day that we went out. I have a picture of all of us walking, and it's Michael with his pro backpack. The one that I wasn't a caster yet. Very mad about this. Sao Paulo had the coolest pro backpacks. They were so sick, and I still have a photo with him that had, like, he has the backpack on. But either way, so we walked through Tokonami and all that kind of stuff. We got done with the event. And all of us after, obviously, guys were in Japan. So I was like, how much money is a bullet train? And hey, guys, could you like get my plane to fly back out of Tokyo? And Ubisoft was like, heck yeah, we can, Stokes. I was like, sick. So I went to Tokyo for a week with a lot of my friends, including Kickstar and Marcella. So we went to Tokyo, and we actually ended up meeting together for Korean barbecue because it was one of our friends Stuart's birthdays. And we had a really, really good time. Went to Korean barbecue and stuff like that. But then we went to this district, and I'll explain the district to you guys very, very quickly. Basically, it's a district that used to be full of, I really don't know how else to say this, brothels. And they basically they fixed it and made it to where it was a bunch of mini bars instead because Japan banned all of that. So you basically have these little 6-seater bars with just a bunch of signs going down like the entire alleyway, and it's basically like an entire block, right? So we occupied an entire one of those bars, and we spent the entire night hanging out. I had Zoronic there with me as well, so I was smoking cigarettes with Zoronic while drinking Glenfiddich with the bartender that we had that barely spoke any English and was just sitting there having the best time of my life with Michael, Marcella, Stuart, and Zoronic. And we sat there until probably like 1 in the morning and then stumbled back to our hotels. Stuart was in such shambles the next morning because it was his birthday. I had to walk down to the 7-Eleven at the street corner. And I had to, like, the 7-Elevens in Japan, they have so much cool stuff, man. So they have like cream bread and that kind of stuff. So like I bought him a bunch of that and like some ibuprofen and had to bring it back to the hotel. And that's while I also felt terrible. So I'm a team player, folks. I was trying to help out Stuart. KiX made it. He was perfectly fine. He was better off than me. I was like, dude, that's what I'm saying. And Michael's only like 5'5". I was like, how do you fit all of that inside of this man? It's just so crazy.
He's a skinny guy too.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. Just absolutely ludicrous. But either way, we're back into this, folks, and hopefully third time's the charm. Is we're gonna jump back into it, see if SSG and Beast Coast can actually play the video game.
Let's need confirm, and once we do have that confirmation, we'll be resuming things once again here inside of the second round of this matchup. Beast Coast currently up 1-0, and SSG trying their second defensive site here to see if they can also net themselves an additional round to tie us up. That's going to be down here in Kitchen, where we've got a fairly standard setup coming in so far here. That's kind of more than likely going to be the game plan for today, folks. Just a quick reminder here, SSG is already qualified for the majors, so keeping that in mind, they don't necessarily need to reveal anything or expand beyond the basics if they don't feel the need to here, because losing this match is very obviously of little consequence to them.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it really doesn't mean that much. It means a lot to Beast Coast, though. It means the world to them. Everyone, over these next 2 Playdays, you guys saw the standings. Lots of 6s on that. Over these next 2 Playdays, it is going to be a war of attrition to see who can stay inside of the NAL. And honestly, I'm here for it. It's going to be a lot of action-packed matches, especially centralized around teams that we never get to really get too excited about. Some of them that really haven't been too, lucrative throughout the year thus far, and some that have been dwindling. So we'll see exactly what happens. But luckily enough, folks, seems like we are glitchless, and we will be getting in through round 2. So let's look across here and see what SSG have in the works. Looks like they do want to be working on that basement level once again. They'll be inside of Kitchen with Beast Coast obviously on the offense. They're initially going to be looking into coat check with the Yana hologram, and they're not going to find too much, all except for a lone soldier here at the bottom of red.
Still going to have to try and vie for control and steal that area away eventually, though, so SSG will continue to maintain prominence as a result of that. Doesn't seem like Beast Coast are focusing too much on the horizontal clear, at least to start things out, though the first minute has gone by, and they seem to be primarily focusing on the Red Hatch entry and working their way down from there. It is quite a bit of an extended game, I believe, on the second floor here for SSG, so there will be quite a few things they have to deal with as they work their way down, but once they've managed to do that, especially if once again they can fulfill this kills the way they were doing inside of the first round here, they'll have a very easy time taking the site, as more than likely they'll have a pretty hefty man advantage by the time they work their way down. SSG needs to find some way to successfully counter all of this aggression out, because right now it is failing in quite a few ways, but something interesting could be happening towards White Stairs.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of action starting to go on, but none towards the actual players just yet, minus Rampy. Still been able to live their lives out this. Need to hold on, especially to this go check area. This is going to be a big play here for Skies if he's able to hold on to this for some time, but more than likely worried about what can possibly go on with these vertical angles. Does have that nitro cell to try and fire back as well, so we'll see how that ends up breaking down. But you can see SSG have actually set up quite a few different obstacles for Beast Coast to try and get over throughout this, including this reinforcement here. It's going to block off one of the very important angles to abuse from the second floor. Also those mute jammers lying in wait to try and block out any of Beast Coast info, and you can see how much it's worked so far already. Beast Coast down under a minute, almost 45 seconds remaining. They've only gotten the initial pick.
Much better job here from SSG at waiting out the time after the initial loss was taken against Rampy. A quick adjustment after the mistakes made in the first round, and they seem to be very, very much so locking in on just this first floor control and looking to run the timeout now against Beast Coast's attack. Speaking of which, we are going to start to see them putting pressure on this VIP hold.
No!
Hot and Cold had every advantage he could ask for in that scenario, but Sippin still ends up getting the better out of him, takes him down, and that's another player going down for SSG. A 3v5 is what thought to come back from now. Could go even lower soon, but Skies, with great timing on this assist for the inside of Small Bakery, takes out Young as well. We're going to see more pressure against him, but he not only downs that player, the one inside of Bakery. Bosco is able to down another as well. Skies will get both of the credit for that one, and ultimately Fultz shuts out the last with a quick pump of the M590 at the main kitchen doorway.
That was pretty gross. That was pretty gross. Fantastic play from Skies there inside of Small Bake. Able to get all of the frags and assist his player behind the bakery storefront as well. So SSG finally able to get one on the board here after the initial round was not looking too hot. Have to be happy with that, and they're going to be headed towards the mid floor this time around, which obviously is going to push them into a top floor defense. We're going to see a lot of the stacking of utility here, especially in the likes of Jaeger, Wamai, and Goyo. But it looks like Hot and Cold isn't exactly leaning on the shields here. He's going to 6-pick it out. Obviously Goyo, a very big choice when it comes to that top floor, so it could be kind of a switcheroo here, trying to get them to think that that top floor clear is a necessity, when in fact it's actually going to be this mid-level. Let's see how SSG want to set this up, and if Hot and Cold's going to try and get aggressive with his Valkyrie.
Figure this out in just a moment here. The mid-floor hold for SSG to bring quite a bit of variance once again when it comes to the operator lineups. As far as the attack is concerned, though, everything is staying pretty much the same here. They found success already, and it nearly did it again on the second round. Unfortunately, was unable to find the aggression necessary to take out that hard-locked bunker from SSG inside of Bakery specifically, as well as the site itself. You can even see the VIP hold falling apart, but that still wasn't enough control for Beast Coast to leverage their control into the site and take a second round for themselves. We'll see if they run into similar issues here on the second floor, where SSG is once again going to use the third floor quite a bit as well for their extended hold, mainly on Cocktail.
Yeah, they have got to hold on to this space for as long as possible, because this plays right into the hand of Beast Coast. They want to abuse the soft destruction, open up this top floor, and start just devouring these SSG members on that second level. It's so difficult to try and fight those vertical angles, although we have seen them won quite a numerous amount of times, but still, just at a bare level, it's usually not exactly the best way to take things. So SSG will dedicate quite a bit of their utility up to this top floor, and they're more than likely going to have Rampy and Fultz operating around this space, specifically Fultz, actually, just because of him getting those discs over time. So he'll actually be able to make the problem even that much more so throughout the round. As for SSG now, though, waiting on Beast Coast's next move. They'll be getting things at the top red area, trying to drone out this mid-floor, and they're not actually going to have too much to find in this space.
As we can see here, Young Alec looking to put the aggression in on the wrap hole, actually. He's going to go directly for that pressure early on. An opportunity was given to him to do some damage to a member of SSG. Unfortunately, falters in that, unable to follow through. We'll still have to be happy with just the control over here towards the inside of mining, as well as the trains room. Work from that point forward to try and get themselves a bit closer to the site. Still a lot to be cleared upstairs too, as this is truly only the beginning of Beast Coast's take, as we saw in previous rounds as well. But Sky's looking for something interesting down here on the first floor. Might be opening up a rotate over towards red for himself for more options of aggressive play later on in this round. And by later, I mean very, very soon. Next 45 seconds or so, we should start to see the beginning of the ending action for this round.
Yes, indeed, and it seems as though Foltz has gotten himself into a prime spot upstairs, hasn't been droned out just yet, and still has some sort of an assist from Rampy playing stacks currently. It's going to be Skies to strike first as an EE1D goes out. Anthony obviously won't be marked from that as it is on his team, but SSG have done a great job of stunting everything thus far. Sippin', beautiful shot onto Foltz. He'll take him out inside of Cigar, but he still, or rather Cocktail, but he still has so many players to worry around this space, especially Bosco currently playing here on White Stairs. Beast Coast haven't been able to actually make that large of an impact where they're going to have an opportunity to plant just yet, so they have to commit to one of these ideals. Otherwise, the timer is going to continue to dwindle and more people are going to die. Bozo to fall next is Beast Coast. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They don't know where to go. They're going to start breaking up the floor and try and find some frags. Anthony seeming like he knows that there's one at the back of Raiding, but nothing coming of that. Rampy, he'll have a gunfight upstairs, but it's not even going to go down that way. Instead, it'll be Sippin' to die next, and now it's down to the 2 versus 4.
Once again, the delay is getting the better of Beast Coast here. SSG using all their utility to wait out these fights for as long as humanly possible. Look at this right now. One of them running down the stairs there as Skies tries to escape. To no avail for him, but for the rest of the team, it works out quite well. They shut it down with 2 final M590 picks, and once again, SSG is in control here with a 2-1 lead over Beast Coast.
Yeah, White Stairs just turned into a clown car right there. Everyone was just pouring out of the bottom stairwell. I mean, very unfortunate for Beast Coast there, but I mean, really, what more do they want out of that? They really weren't trying to make a forceful effort into any area. They just kind of wanted SSG to back off and give up the space, and that was definitely not going to happen. SSG played that out so very well, especially on that top floor with the amount of delay that they had, even after Foltz got picked inside of Cocktail. We didn't see Beast Coast try to push forward and take that space. They eventually got Freezer, but it really wasn't all that much going into the plot. So for Beast Coast now, it's going to be an adjustment in their pacing as to what they can do on this offensive side. They really need to get these team plays going on because SSG is no slouch. They're going to continue to make you sit on this timer, and if you're going to sit back and just allow that, then this defensive side for SSG is just going to go off with flying colors.
Got a little bit of a glimmer of hope coming in for Beast Coast on this round, however, when you consider this is the one site that SSG had issues with and lost, mainly because Beast Coast had those great picks, and the picks never really ended. They were able to slowly isolate out the members of SSG on a one-by-one basis and bring it down to a point where it was just Skies trying to hold his own. Did a good effort, killed 2 of them at least, but nowhere near enough to get the outright 1v5 clutch, so Beast Coast still close out that round with relative ease. I doubt they're going to have as easy of a time this time around, as SSG is going to make some small adjustments for themselves to hopefully allow their players to stay alive later into the round. We'll see how all that plays out, though, as Beast Coast is on the board once again. Let's see what their initial strat is going to be.
No change up for Beast Coast in their overall strategy. For SSG, they're going to continue this rotation of operators. I mean, just Foltz alone, we've already seen him play so many different things, as well as Skies, who's been constantly switching back and forth, and this is just that telltale sign of what SSG have really been working on, this free-flowing offense where they're really able to slot anyone into any position and make it work. So honestly, really happy to continue seeing this with SSG, even given the circumstances. You know, obviously SSG already in for the major, so don't have to worry about things too much, but still sticking to the overall strategy here. Any practice is good practice, especially with a team that has only been together for one stage.
So taking a look here now, Beast Coast once again looks to try and pierce the veil, get their way past SSG.
Great band, by the way.
Onto and onto the site, but see once again quite a bit of delay in trying to find that first kill this time. Utility was the main way they were able to leverage themselves into it on the first round, and this time it's not panning out so well. As we can see, all this utility getting dumped at the moment, mainly mitigated by what SSG has set up themselves, so no success in isolating out anyone. However, that could be changing over the next 30 seconds or so, as you guys can see, quite a bit of this utility is starting to be taken down, with that Goyo shield by Pixel getting eliminated first, and now probably a push leading up to at least the Whitehall doors will be coming probably very soon. And what happens there for Sippin? Just goes blank as he sees Rampy sitting in the corner, allows him to find the pick, and Foltz as well follows up with a quick second one.
we literally have spectator cams, and I had no idea that Rampy was there. That like he just practically spawned inside of White Hall. Unfortunate for Beast Coast, but they've lost 2 of their members, and the biggest thing is they've lost most of their explosives, folks. No more explosives on this offense, and this is something that I wanted to touch on when they're playing into these setups here from SSG. They seriously need to double down on those. We're not even seeing 2 sets of frag grenades here. Instead, we see the breaching charges, but now they're starting to battle back in, or the breaching rounds rather, from Ash. But either way, they're starting to battle back now, as they've initially picked up 1, but Skies has helped inside of this delay, and now with minimal time, it's going to be up to Beast Coast to try and make some magic happen, but it's not for them to take. It's SSG's round, at least it looks like right now. Well, Fozo might actually have something to say about this. He'll take down Rampy initially, but with 30 seconds remaining, he's got to get the ball rolling here, and it's looking to be the double swing from both ends, and it doesn't even need it. Foltz, he'll step out from Stacks, take him down, and SSG will find their 3rd round.
You can see great work and great effort coming in there from SSG once again, playing things incredibly passively, incredibly laid back until they get those initial 2 picks. That's when they realize, all right, guys, we have the advantage. It's time to snap this jaw shut. And they do that pretty much perfectly there. From the back end, we see the Nitro Cell come sailing from the still maintained position over by Trains to shut down 2 additional players. And then, as you talked about, the double swing there at the end to take down the last one. SSG are making sure they take out Beast Coast with minimal risk here, and that plan is working out brilliantly for these past 3 rounds.
Yep, on Kafe, it's all about playing around your teammates and playing for those refrags. You do not want to go down without trading because of how much utility means here. I mean, even inside of that round, we saw a big double kill, and it happened to be onto Ash, as well as, I believe, Buck. Or no, actually, it was Ash and Yana. That's what it was, losing the frag grenades as well as the breaching rounds. Everyone else has stuns. That's not very good when it comes down to Kafe, especially when you're attacking into that top floor. Yeah, you'll be able to clear some gates and some ADSs, but you can't get rid of any of the hard-to-reach places behind deployable shields and stuff like that, and that just gives more harbor for SSG to play around and continue to be a nuisance to you. So I'd really like to see them change things up inside of the explosive department, but it doesn't seem like we're going to be getting that just yet. We are going to the basement floor, so Beast Coast definitely have an opportunity to do some serious damage here, but just remember, they're only down to 1 soft breach with this overall setup. So if Anthony goes down, they're going to be heavily reliant on trying to get that top floor open with, I mean, I don't even know at this point, probably Jay, if it had to be my guess. Just launch a Mix Kairos on the floor and try and get it done.
Yeah, we're in the cycle at this point for Beast Coast here. SSG have found their footing and are just looping through the sites as they need to do here to try to claim as many rounds as possible. So we'll be on the basement floor, or rather the first floor for this 5th round here, and more than likely a 2nd floor library hold as we saw previously from SSGs. That'll be unlocked on the following round, which will also be the last round in the half for them. So still a possibility for a 5-1 scoreline to come alive here from SSG. Beast Coast, though, showed us some great stuff in the first round. We just unfortunately have not seen it ring true since. SSG has adjusted their play style, and Beast Coast has not, just as of yet here. So we need to see how they're going to try and put more pressure on these much more defensively weighted members of SSG here now to try and claim that 2nd round.
Yeah, this really feels as though SSG is playing against Beast Coast and Beast Coast is playing against themselves. That's really what it feels like. Beast Coast is more than likely stuck in the loop of, oh, well, if we just do this thing right inside the strategy that we're doing, then it's going to work. But that's not necessarily the case, especially when SSG is making these active adjustments up against how you're clearing the map. They already knew that Beast Coast were going to be doing this. This is why they made the adjustment for Closet. That's why Rampy was playing there in the first place. They have to force him out of this space, and now they've taken some control, but let's see how far they can get. Alex is going to get lit up. They know that code check is for real now. It's not going to be a hologram in here, and that's going to be followed up with an impact, but it's not going to deal too much damage. Skies will be at the helm of this with the cross handled by Foltz as he'll start trying to apply pressure. Bosco's going to get lit up as well as Rampy, and just so many standoffs currently going on around this bottom floor.
A lot of things are going to change up here over the next few seconds, depending on who ends up winning control over these fights here, and Beast Coast knows it too. They're going to commit as much utility as they can. A little bit of damage going on the hot and cold, but the bar ends up eating most of it there. Sippin will now pushing with the Candela supporting that play, but it's immediately shut out by hot and cold. Skies gets a 2nd pick also, so Beast Coast fall apart at the seams yet again here. 2 more go down seconds later, and it's all on Jay in a 1v5 with at best half the HP removed from someone on SSG. It will not matter though, as SSG still shut it down when he makes the push. The bakery player secures it, and it's a flawless hold from the SSG camp.
SSG is just sitting on their arms, just punching them, man. Just fight back. Come on, Beast Coast. Come on, guys. Like, do something here. It's like your big brother. It's not even fair. I mean, SSG just running over Beast Coast currently. And we go back to this, folks. Beast Coast really sticking to what their fundamental plan is for Kafe and not making any adjustments. They think that they can kind of just waltz in and do what they planned initially, and that's not the case. SSG are constantly moving the goalposts and making it more and more difficult simply because they know what Beast Coast's actions are going to be, and they more than likely know what the actions are going to be again as they go to Reading Room Fireplace Hall. This time, though, they're going to change it up once again. It's a 6-pick to the Kaid. They'll keep the walls upstairs electrified, and they're actually going to add the Goyo here, which we saw 6-picked out the last time for the Valkyrie.
That's going to bring quite a bit of delay back into the play here, obviously changing out the intel for that delay potential. Now, obviously, Beast Coast are going to be able to deal with that without too much of an issue, given the utility that they have brought to the table here, specifically with the Ashe Yana combination. But away from that, still a lot of work that's going to need to be done here, which Beast Coast really struggled with. Their transition, most notably from the 3rd down to the 2nd floor, was where things really went awry. They had lots of problems taking control over White, and being able to properly use that to get themselves close enough to the site. No problems over here on the west side of the building, though. We've seen them go in, take trains, as well as mining with no problem whatsoever and flushing out any resistance from SSG, but that's only a building point. They need to get a lot more than that if this attack is going to work this time.
Yeah, absolutely. They have got to get some grounds taken over, especially on this top floor where SSG have been able to just make magic happen time and time again. Although the first round obviously not going their way, ever since then it's been the SSG show, and how fun has it been? I mean, we only have 2 members on SSG who currently have 2 deaths right now, and this is the last round of this defensive half. They're looking magical. We'll see if they can try and continue it, or if Beast Coast is going to switch things up. They're not going to be changing things up inside of the operator department, sticking to the game plan here, so we'll see how that works out for them. I'm really looking to see if they can get some more traction out of Fozo in these EE1Ds.
Away from that, though, we'll see exactly how he's going to be able to use that to surprise SSG at best, especially if they can catch someone from SSG moving back from these more extended positions, such as the cocktail hole that we're seeing now. It is going to spot the Yana drone working its way in there, so the Gemini will get shot out quite quickly, and Fultz is actually getting a little aggressive as he swings out a bit more there, potentially to challenge the cigar drop, but ends up taking a wiser stance, backs away from that, maintains his position inside of the freezer where he's well supported. Flashes are going to start to ring his way, but they'll be difficult to affect him with the amount of utility mitigation that is set up for SSG. So we'll continue to see Beast Coast struggle as they try to take out as much as possible before committing to an inside push here.
All right, so Sip and Orty landing true on one of the Goyo shields upstairs. That's the initial breaching round that he used, as well as young Alex still having 2 frag grenades as well. All these stun grenades still pouring in, and still plenty of those to try and operate around as well. Fultz, he's going to start trying to push forward. He goes for the play. He'll only be able to get 1. He takes down Alec. That's going to be a huge pick, actually, for SSG. Obviously, those electro claws are going to continue to persist, whereas the hologram not exactly usable after death, so they're not going to have as much info to try and play off of it, as well as, look at the time, folks, and look where Bosco is. There's a minute remaining. He's still residing inside of Cocktail. Rampy still has freezer control. Beast Coast are stumped.
The good news, only really good news here for Beast Coast at this point, is that for the most part, the utility from SSG has been used up. There is still 1 Nitro Cell sitting on Skies, but away from that, everything is gone. That includes things like Toxic Babes and whatnot as well. So they have nothing to hold this back anymore, except for their guns, but that might just be enough here as Jay gets a 1-2 exchange, losing 2 of his teammates and going overall down to a 3v2 here. SSG still holds the advantage, as well as a lot of aggressive control toward the staircases, meaning once again, Beast Coast are going to struggle to make that transition to the 2nd floor. Skies shuts out Sippin, leaving only Jay in this skirmish now in a 1v3 scenario. He knows he's got 1 on the same floor as him somewhere. He also knows he's got a lot of vertical play here. Nice find to take out Rampy, but 20 seconds remain to find the last 2 players. Now look, make sure this is safe as it can be. Drops to the inside, is not going to be ready for hot and cold. Already waiting on the 90 angle to shut him down and secure a 5th round for SSG.
I mean, what do you do when the round just seems impossible? That's the biggest thing. Again, we go back to this Beast Coast not truly getting any pressure on that cocktail space. They initially get rid of the Goyo shield, but it's still a 1-front assault at the end of the day. They're only pushing in from the Christmas side, and obviously SSG knows what's going on with that. What I would really like to see is possibly somebody get on cocktail window. You have got to be applying pressure to the back end of these players. Obviously, it is risky, especially with the air jabs being out of play currently, but it's still something that desperately needs to be done in certain situations, and it looked to be the situation right there there for Beast Coast, but well, enough mincing words about that side. We're halfway through this one, folks, as SSG is currently up 5-1. Beast Coast will be taking control of the defense, and they're immediately headed to the ground floor where they're actually going to have a Bandit along for the ride.
Bandit will be interesting to see played out here, as he can obviously provide quite a bit of additional reinforcements to most notably the kitchen side walls, where we see them brought out the most, but Fozo also more likely going to assist with the freezer side walls also. Just going to have to be paying close attention to the breach work coming up from the kitchen, or rather the dining room up above, which actually they've opened that up, so more likely not going to be reinforcing those walls as they've got the VIP setup, so might actually leave that one open for a rotate. But we'll see in just a moment what the final setup is going to look like here, as Beast Coast is looking to get a strong start here in the second half for themselves.
I'll be honest, I'm really scared for Beast Coast inside of this round. This is going to be an extended roam, something that we've seen happen a decent amount of times here on Kafe, most notably from BDS, if you guys remember that about a year ago, 2 years ago, where they started doing that here on Kafe, and it all centralizes around that hatch inside of dining, where you're able to drop back down into sight and play it out from there. But it's going to be about limiting what SSG can do early here. Beast Coast want to get out ahead of them, start trying to get some of these frags. We'll see how it works out for them, but the reason that I'm scared is because SSG have played so fluently as a team throughout this thus far that I really don't think that Beast Coast are going to be able to get one up on them. It's going to have to be something drastic, and well, if it does go their way, we hopefully hope that they get away with it. That's the biggest thing here. We're going to have the EE1Ds out for SSG now. The first one, not going to hit its mark.
SSG wasting no time, though, in trying to open up a path into the site. They already have a Maverick lined up next to the service as well as bakery walls, and I'm imagining at least at this point he's done a little bit of work to at least partially open that up. There you go. You can see it in front of your eyes right now. In fact, Fozo can do nothing to stop that play from coming out. So the Bandit, unfortunately, not going to have a whole lot of effectiveness in this play. This lineup from Fozo, though, this is the pre-fire. He'll try to go for it to try to knock him out when that's opened up, but will miss the opportunity. Another E1D goes out, but I don't believe it's going to gather any useful intel for the SSG camp, as they're still looking for a path into this site. More importantly, an opening kill opportunity, so the push is a bit more viable here. Fozo with the opportunity, but instead it's going to be Hutton from the bakery side that shuts him out instead, turns that one around real quick. And once again, SSG are in control.
Oh, I don't know if you saw the webcam there, but Fozo was not happy about that one. And, I mean, who really would be at the end of the day? That's just super unfortunate. But for you Mav mains at home, look at what Rampy did there. He did not prone, he crouched instead. And that's what you should be doing, because it guards your face. If they shoot your feet, yeah, it's going to deal some damage, but at least you won't die instantaneously like this poor soul as Sippin hops out red stairs here, rather, takes down Rampy. So they'll be able to at least find the equalizer here, and that timer really starting to dwindle down. SSG obviously with a lot of control inside of bakery, though, so they'll be looking for the plant momentarily, but there's still quite a bit of defensive utility here to try and burn through as well. Specifically the Nitro Cell from Alec, as well as the smokes from Jay, who could play a big part inside of this. Anthony will be trying to play some defense around Prep Kitchen currently from that mid floor, but really, it's only been onto the timer thus far. No one really taking any damage, as SSG is still looking for a peck to try and push their way into sight.
On Cold still waiting for the ability to try and put some pressure on the Beast Coast inside. As Dokes was just mentioning there, Fultz will find it eventually here, gets Jay peeking, as he's been doing that pretty much the whole round. Finally, he's going to get his just desserts for doing so. Sippin will get some revenge, but Skies gets just as much a moment later. And once again, SSG are in control in the 3v2 scenario here. Sippin already down at about half HP as well, and SSG are in the site with control. But what a shot here from Sippin to take out Bosco instead. It is reciprocated, though, meaning Sippin's now alone here in the 1v2. It's a harsh angle as he tries to work his way into kitchen. Houghton as well as Sky should be able to take him out if he peeks this breach too far. Looks like he's going to realize that. Start to back away a little bit. Working towards a different angle. You'll note the rappel play, though, as we'll see the assistance from Skies go up to the second floor, just in the case that he failed in the 1v1, but that won't even be necessary, as Skies holds the line and pushes SSG that much closer to closing this match out.
It's just truly incredible now that I've been able to truly see it with my own eyes, how much Skies is able to stay alive inside of these rounds. Time and time again, he's just simply waiting for that next mark to eventually push himself forward instead of going for the risky play, and it plays so well into SSG's hand. Really like what I'm seeing from them, but what else would you expect? Today was about what Beast Coast can do, and as of right now, it really looks like not much, at least in the adjustments department. That's the big thing right now for Beast Coast, is they're really just throwing anything in the wall and hoping that it sticks, whereas SSG is making the big game-changing things happen right now across the board, even on this offensive side, and that's how we've reached this point. The team play for SSG is just too damn strong.
Beast Coast is going to head back to the old reliable here to try and see if they can hold
hold on and at least start a comeback for themselves here on this one. It's the upstairs hold in the 3rd floor site. Goyo's back in the mix. We've got Smoke for the delay for Jay, as well as Maestro there being played by Fozo to get the intel and possibly some use out of the Evil Eyes if it should be necessary. Away from that, though, a pretty usual setup for the defense, and I believe the actual setup of the utility individually here is going to be fairly straightforward as well. The normal freezer setup to support a line of fire going into Cigar on the left side of your screen, and various other bits of utility built up around the site to support that.
I like the overall strategy that Beast Coast will be going for here, especially with Fozo on the Evil Eye and part with Alec and those Black Eye cams. It's going to give a lot of info to Beast Coast that could really influence a lot of these engagements, especially with where he has these Black Eye cameras actually at. Christmas more than likely going to be the hallmark of this round, but that's unless SSG has something to say about it. They will be bringing the buck, so the opportunity is there, just like we were talking about earlier, for that cocktail attack. They have to get reading room control for that. And now for Beast Coast, it's trying to get a read as to what SSG wants to do with this opening engagement.
Big emphasis on the drone play right now here from SSG, as we would pretty much suspect at this point in the round here. They want to try and figure out if Beast Coast have done anything a little bit more interesting. Most notably with their utility setups, they'll probably have a pretty good idea of where the players are going to be positioned at, just off of where the reinforcements and utility is positioned. But away from that as well, can't hurt to get that extra intel about the type of angles that these members of Beast Coast might be playing against, so that SSG don't walk themselves into an instant headshot death if they get a bit too adventurous here. Beast Coast actually going to hold some pressure back on the first floor, as we can see Sippin, arguably one of the most impactful players inside of this game so far for Beast Coast, continuing to throw his aggressive weight wherever he might be able to. And it looks like he's going to do it directly against the entry point here from SSG, as he takes up position just at the bottom of red stairs here. Try and punish the hatch drop.
Well, somebody has got to do something, and it's more than likely going to be Sippin. Alec and Anthony have not been able to find the scoreboard yet again today, and it's going to continue to happen for Alec. And oh my God, Beast Coast, they're falling apart at the seams. The EE1D out. It's down to a lone man. Only Anthony remains as the plant goes down in skies. I will give it to you, my friend. You have IGL'd a beautiful Kafe. Beast Coast have not had a single chance in most of these rounds to get anything done, and that's going to be wraps. Put a bow on it. Hot and cold. Still the best in the league, and SSG on top.
SSG, nothing really to prove here today, but they still prove something anyway against Beast Coast, as they take a 7-round victory for themselves. And that's a straight 7 rounds, by the way. The one round that we saw Beast Coast pick up was the very first round. So ever since then, SSG made immediate adjustments to their defensive play style, pulled back the aggression, and ever since then, dominated every single round to go the straight 7, to control this map and make their record look that much prettier to get toward the end of the season with.
Absolutely immaculate from them today, and throughout this entire stage as well. I mean, walking into this, I believe Hot and Cold's rating was a 1.46, 1.49. He just finished 10-1. So he's more than likely going to have the highest rating that we've seen from any NAL player in any stage ever, which is just absolutely absurd to think about. But I mean, you gotta give him a round of applause. He's been doing this the entire season on multiple different teams.
Crazy stuff.
It's crazy stuff, man. It's really, really crazy.
And for Beast Coast, unfortunately, commiserations to them. A great effort put in on the first round, but failing to adjust their play style to the adjustments that SSG's made, along with the usual consistency issues that we see from the individuals. Sippin had a great match himself, but unfortunately, beyond that, it's hard to look at any of the players on Beast Coast and look at who you can specifically rely on to bring that performance. Even in Sippin's case, we have no idea if that's going to carry forward into tomorrow's match for them as well. So that is oftentimes the big concern with Beast Coast, and it once again was here today in this match on top of the strategy issues. We're going to go to a short break real quick, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we'll have Veli and the rest of the analysis desk ready to analyze this match.
What does it take to call next? Follow us for a deep dive into the Rainbow Six community, breaking down barriers, taking you behind the scenes, and showing what it means to level up.
If you want to get better, try reviewing your game footage. Insights.gg's game capture tool makes recording and reviewing fast and easy. With no lag, automatic recording, and instant highlights, it's never been easier to learn from your gameplay. Try it for free at insights.gg today.
Welcome back to the NAL, and it looks like Spacestation Gaming at the time of their lives is a 7-1 Beast Coast in pretty much a quick game. But with the highlights brought to us by Predator, we're going to break things down right here on the desk. Jesse and Jacob, tell me how you feel about this game.
Can't say that this wasn't the expected result. Space Station came in and blasted Beast Coast. Yet another team that Beast Coast have gone up against in this stage so far, and it's a 7-1 result. Of the top 4 teams that we've seen so far in the NAL, this is Beast Coast getting the exact same 7-1 scoreline yet again, and it looks like it's for a multitude of the exact same problems they struggled against guys like OXG and TSM earlier in the stage.
Yeah, at the start, there was some potential there. Beast Coast were looking all right those first couple of rounds, but once SSG got on their front foot, that was it. Beast Coast really didn't have any answers to SSG, winning all of those opening engagements, adapting on their defenses, having so much better of a time. So, you know, Beast Coast, there's something there, but I think mentally, after they were out, there was no getting back in for them.
You said that there was something there, Jesse, but looking at the stats right now, I mean, we have to give a big shout out to Hot and Cold. 10-2, and that boy Skies tore it up as well with 10 kills on his own. But looking at Beast Coast side, Anthony, Fozo, and Young Alec, they struggled, man.
Yeah, definitely. After the rehost, there were 0 kills, and so that rehost happened round 2. That means after they started losing those rounds, they didn't find anything on the board. So really some struggles going on there for Anthony, Alec, and Fozo for sure. I mean, it's the common problems, right? This is the issue with Beast Coast, maybe not having that firepower all the time. Alec is supposed to come in and kind of fix that. In this game, that didn't happen.
Flip side, we're looking at Skies having a really damn good performance, even though he's a support player. It doesn't have to be up there from a kills point of view. But if we keep on looking for Hot and Cold to have that MVP performance, if we want him to be that primary candidate, that kind of scoreline 10-2 is an excellent way to keep him up there above vertical right now at this point for who's got the best rating overall on this stage, and may very well lead to that MVP candidacy once this entire stage is done.
Yes, and also we have an interview from the one and only, I mean, you guys know him, is going to be Skies from Space Station Gaming. Let's get him on up on the screen. Can't wait to talk to him about this impressive win. 7-1, pretty crazy. Skies, as always, it's good to see you. First things first, how you feeling after that big win?
You know, we're feeling good. You know, we were really well prepared, and the game plan is exactly how we executed it.
Yeah, I mean, Skies, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about those first couple of rounds, because round 1, you're in the 1v5, you get the window kill, you get the hatch kill. I'm sitting there thinking he can do it. Round 2, obviously you have that big moment in small bake as well, and there's that whole break. I want to know if those big plays that you were able to pull out for the team, if that kind of helped boost the atmosphere in the squad, because it looked like SSG from that point forward, really everybody was on top of things and we're winning that early game.
I'd actually say that first round was kind of a wake-up call for us. Like, we were definitely not fully awake, you know, being the earlier game. I didn't even realize I was in a 1v5 until someone said it. So after I got the first kill, I was like, oh, okay. So then I killed the second guy in the hatch, and I was like, okay, the first guy I killed obviously had the bomb, so now I'm just going to wait for them to grab it. And they grabbed it without me knowing. But I think that after that round, it was kind of the wake-up call for the team. I was just in the right position to help Bosco and Bakery. He was calling they were going to push that way, so they had no idea I was in there, so I just took advantage of that.
Let's look a little bit ahead to what the Sweden Major is going to look like for you guys. Obviously, you're the first North American team to have your candidacy locked in for the Sweden Major. Got the chance to work with you in Mexico, and that was a lot of fun. But now you're going to yet another major as a player. Is there anything that you're trying to do with either this game and then the one coming up next, or in your next play day tomorrow, that you're trying to specifically focus on or hammer home? Are you looking for a super strong start at the stage? Are you trying something out just to see if it works? Are you not trying to give something away for Sweden? What's the game plan look like for this week for you guys?
This week, I would say it's just kind of, playing our game. We want to win every single game, so, we're not going to just, take it easy or take the day off just because we qualified for Sweden. We want to finish first place, and we want to dominate everybody, so, that's the plan to go in tomorrow with the same mindset. Sweden, I would say expect some different things, but as of right now, we're just going to play our game, and, we'll go from there.
That killer instinct, guys. We absolutely love it, man. But I'm going to leave the stage and the floor up to you for this last part to thank the fans and the audience out there for watching and supporting Space Station Gaming. But also, I'm going to give you a moment to also reflect on any memories that you have for our friend Kickstar.
Oh, man. I have so many memories with Kix, I would say the biggest one is, he called me on Discord at like 8 in the morning and was like, hey, what do you think of this Interrobang guy? And I was just like, no, but in reality, I mean, me and Kix talked a lot more than, it looks like on Twitter and stuff. But he was a really nice guy in Mexico. He was very helpful. he's always been there throughout my career, even the bad times, back-to-back relegations. He was always there, keep your head up, you're a top player, that type of stuff, It's just the type of guy that he is, and, it hurts everybody. If you're hurting more than, other people, reach out, talk to people. He had a lot of impact on people's lives, and we're all going to miss him, and I'm going to start tearing up, so I'm going to stop.
It's all right, man. Thank you so much, guys. Congratulations on the win once again. And also, phenomenal performance from you and Han and Cole. Give him a big hug for me. I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
It's nice to see you guys in person.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Scott. You take it easy, man. Yeah, Blue and Stokes cheered in the
I
background.
heard the whoop from the back.
Exactly. But fellas, let's break down this game for just a moment. Jesse, Beast Coast, they started off pretty well, right? They won that one round. But Spacestation Gaming, they had a plan all along. They came back well.
Yeah, I love that Skies said that woke them up. I don't know if they just need more caffeine in the morning. They need drink more of those energy drinks. But
maybe a little bit more.
That's what it felt like, right? Like, you saw that. Not only was it round 1 they lost, and from that they kept on losing, but, like, it was those early games in round 1 and round 2 as well. They had to clutch that back from a great play from Skies in that small bakery position. And so it really did feel like after that happened, they were back in control. They were back in that driver's seat. And I'm disappointed in Beast Coast that they didn't ever seem like they could bring that back, right? It was always like they'd just given up. They were feeling so desperate when they were going for those pushes, when they were trying to clear out. They were stalling on that top floor, or they were just running at people without drones. It never felt like they were in a position to turn that around and swap that momentum. Maybe a timeout would have helped. I don't know. But it's just unfortunate we didn't get to see that.
That trend is the issue. If you look at all those games they've lost 7-1 over the course of this stage, I think a lot of it comes back to issues of confidence. If you have map control, use that map control to the fullest extent, but there's not a lot of intel. There isn't information being gathered very actively, and it looks like Space Station, or what you mentioned, Fultz kind of seemed bored in some of those rounds.
Yeah.
It's like, if you can chuck a nitro cell and get a free kill, then you're going to do it against Space Station. That's simply not going to work out. You need to be more aggressive and play with more confidence, and in many of those situations, it felt like Sippin just push the hallway. Like, you can acquire that control. You can at least force some good pressure, have somebody come with you. It's like there's not a lot of adaptation coming from Beast Coast, and especially on attack where you need that on Kafe, which still has a defender lean. Look for opportunities to take that exact kind of aggression against Space Station, because how else are you going to win against them?
Yeah, and SSG's adaptation was so good. Like, literally, like, you look at those 2 rounds, like Cocktail, they lost it the first time. Second time, they put that player down below. They have that bottom floor pressure that's able to really aggress onto the buck that wants to play down there. And so the rest of Beast Coast, they want to go for that bottom-up take. Look at the cooking defense, the kitchen defense that they went for. They did win the first time, but not very solidly. They stopped with the roaming shenanigans. They stopped with all this aggressive play. They just hunker it down, and when Beast Coast try to switch things up themselves, they tried that, right? They tried with the Ying play. It just didn't have any legs to stand on it. So SSG, they're always going to be adapting. You have to counter that, and you have to adapt as well if you're going against the Giants.
Right, and take a look at how Beast Coast played. I mean, let's be completely honest, Jacob. It kind of hurt me to watch Sippin try his hardest on Ash, trying to get kills and win rounds, when the rest of his team, they were struggling. And even after the rehost, we saw a bunch of Owens on the board. It seems like there's a lot more to say when Beast Coast loses compared to when they win.
That's the problem. I look at the skill on this team and I want it to flourish. I want it to thrive, because Anthony still was probably like we touted him as being the best player that this team had back in stage 2, probably on a different role, but now he's in an environment where he should be able to thrive more, and he's thriving less. He played Buck. He didn't have a single kill after that rehost playing in a vertical position, which we thought he was going to do much better on in this stage, and it hasn't come to fruition. We're looking at Sippin trying to entry, which he did. I thought through those first 2 rounds, it looked like there might be a little bit of steam that can pick up over time. And then what happens? He ends up with more entry deaths than entry kills. And it looks as though what SSG are doing is either trapping Beast Coast inside their own bomb site, and they're not giving themselves like any recourse or method to get out and try to flex around it, or it's opportunities that Beast Coast have to make these pushes, and they simply aren't doing it with the gumption that you'd expect from the guys in these roles. So I don't know if it's a confidence issue, but Beast Coast now are almost, I think, getting really close to relegation potential, so they need a really strong last game if they want to stay out of it, like, for good.
Yeah, I do want to give a little, like, hope to the Beast Coast fans. I mean, like, there is still next week, and that's against Dark Zero. I think compared to Space Station this week, that's a much more winnable game. Like, that's one where we can actually see
You'd
Beast
think
Coast
so, given the way Dark Zero has been playing, yeah.
come out and take some rounds and potentially some points off of the board there. So I don't think that they're in trouble. I think Beast Coast are still fine overall, but this was a tough showing.
Yes, but ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the first game of the day. But coming up next, we still have some amazing matches. Make sure you don't go anywhere anytime soon, and we'll see you after the break.